Philip Livingston's passion and enthusiasm and excellent education made his business as a merchant quite profitable.
Philip Livingston.
Philip Livingston.
Philip Livingston.
Philip Livingston was born on January 15, 1716 in Albany, New York, to a family with generations of highly respected citizens. He was tutored at home and graduated from Yale College in 1737. After graduation, Philip went into business as a merchant, which was quite a popular profession at the time. Well, with his passion and enthusiasm and excellent education, his business became quite profitable. He personally felt the effects of and despised British taxes, but he opposed any types of violent acts and dreaded war. Well, with his business booming and his future secured, Philip was able to find his future wife, Christina Ten Broeck. The pair of lovebirds went on and got married April 14, 1740, and had 9 children together. In 1754, Philip was elected an alderman in New York. That's an elected member of a municipal council, next in status to the mayor. This was his first appearance into public life, and he remained in this important and respectable office for the next 9 years. The colony of New York, for a time, was more under the influence of the British Crown than any of the other colonies, and they more slowly accepted the idea of a revolution. But all along, there were those individuals in that colony that possessed a more patriotic spirit or more ready to rise in opposition to British aggression. When the British began to oppress the colonies, no one gave stronger opposition than Mr. Livingston. He despised the power that the British government had over the colonies. He was willing to put up with the British authority as long as it was limited, and it had a reason, and justice approved it. He favored the rights of the colonies, and that made him the perfect person to represent the colony in the Congress of 1774. Philip was a member of the 1776 Congress and was able to cast his vote in favor of the American independence. On the 4th of July, 1776, Philip was able to sign the Declaration of Independence at the age of 60. The Constitution of the State of New York was adopted the following year, April 20th, 1777. Under this Constitution, Mr. Livingston was chosen as a senator for the Southern District, and he attended the first meeting of the first legislature of the state of New York. In October, an election took place for the members of Congress, and Mr. Livingston, of course, was chosen. This was a critical and a gloomy period in the history of the Revolution. The British had taken possession of Philadelphia, forcing the Congress to retire from that city. They had agreed to hold a session at York. The health of Mr. Livingston was very serious. He had dropsy in the chest, which basically is congestive heart failure, with no chance of recovery. He was daily pulled out of his active life to deal with his condition. Yet his love for his country continued strong and unwavering. With his family in Kingston, where they had been forced to flee to escape the British Army, Philip had traveled to fulfill his position in the Continental Congress. As he left them for the last time, he bid a bittersweet goodbye, predicting that he would not make it home ever again. Although he didn't get to spend his last days at home, he was kept company by his son Henry, who was at that time a member of General Washington's family. After hearing of the illness of his father, Henry hurried to be with his dying parent. These sad predictions did prove to be accurate and true, and on June 12th, 1778, he passed away while serving in the Congress at the age of 62. On the day of his death, It was announced in the Hall of Congress, and the following resolutions were adopted. Resolved, that Congress will in a body attend the funeral this evening at 6 o'clock with a crape around the arm, and will continue in mourning for the space of 1 month. Now, the crape around the arm was a mark of mourning, but usually only worn by servants. This was an outward sign of respect by the Congress to maintain the memory of a dearly departed loved one. Charles Augustus Goodrich writes of Philip, "Mr. Livingston is said to have been naturally silent and reserved, and to strangers to have appeared austere. Yet he was uncommonly mild and affectionate to his family and his friends. He was a firm believer in the great truths of the Christian system and a sincere and a humble follower of the divine Redeemer." Philip Livingston's passion and enthusiasm in his excellent education served him well his whole life. He literally gave heart and soul to his country. The end.